Alright, here we go. We're rocking and rolling. I got the audio going, got the video, and I'm screen sharing. So, alright, man, let's dig in. Let's just look at the menus first a little bit. I created just a little Paul Hammis Pro Tools session here, right? Got a Pro Tools menu up here. So when I did that, sometimes when you open Pro Tools, it'll automatically open a window and can say, hey, do you want to create a new session or do you want to open a recent? But if not, obviously clearly File, Create, New, right? And then I got my other stuff, like I just edited the audio and fixed that in your theory video, right? These are all your most recent sessions. Besides that, man, I would say kind of as soon as possible, I would get used to shortcuts like Command S for save, right? That's probably the most important thing that I could tell you, maybe in this entire session. Command S, dude. I've not Command S before and saved, right? And Pro Tools is cool because it automatically does like a save every 5 minutes, but man, you can do a lot of work in 5 minutes, and if it hasn't automatically saved, you just lost your stuff. So man, after everything I do, I basically hit that quick Command S, Command S, Command S. It's not going to hurt anything, of course, right? So if you just kind of get addicted to Command S, that will be very good for you. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go over to track up here, and I'm going to create a new track. Now, one thing that you'll notice in regards to most of the menu functions, you have shortcuts. So like that one is Shift Command N. That means create a new track, right? Again, like I'm a shortcut guy, and so like I really like to use those keyboard shortcuts. So Shift Command N, boom, brings up new tracks. Now, for the most part, the guitars that you're recording are gonna be mono tracks, right? So if you were creating a new track here, I'll create one new mono audio track. And the guitar is an audio track, right? Because it's coming into the front or the back of your interface, and it's a microphone, right? Audio tracks are like where you're recording bass direct, or it's actually audio being recorded, versus like a MIDI where you're actually like playing like a MIDI keyboard or like whatever. Okay, cool. So we'll create a new audio track. Now, occasionally, you might have, say, a stereo track, right? So for me, say, if I record my my aux, or if I recorded two mics on my guitar amp, I would use like a stereo input, right? So that'd be stereo, audio track, and in samples doesn't really matter. I just leave it always in samples. Now, if you're like recording the band or whatever, or some other cats, you can just figure out what you need, and then you can like add or subtract things, right? So cool. So that's basically that. All right. So we have a track here, and I mentioned this in initially when we were talking in the lessons. I think it's really important to go ahead, double click this audio one, and say I'm gonna call that guitar, right? I think that, or even maybe better is like, okay, let's call this rhythm guitar. Cool. So I like to be able to see my windows, so I just make sure they're a good size, and you can do that by just dragging right here. It turns into that little horizontal entity there, and then I can kind of see what's going on. Now, I kind of mentioned this before, but if you hit Command plus, you can toggle between these two windows. All right. So if you're recording, this window called the Edit window is probably the most handy. And then if you're kind of trying to mix stuff, hence the name, the Mix window. So Edit window, Mix window. Cool? Edit window and Mix window. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and record a little guitar. But here's the deal. I mean, for the most part, when you record, man, I think it's important to get used to playing to a click or some drums. And I mentioned that I have some drums. I can share those with you. Not technically legally, but I can share them with you. But I have some wonderful, great drummers that I basically live on my computer, right? Let me show you that right now. So basically I have here in my Sheriff Dan folder, hard drive, I have drum loops, and I have both MIDI drums, and I have some like real audio. And so the cool thing about this, man, is like all these cool cats that are like session musicians, or they might be actually not under a person's name, but instead like, okay, here are the brushes tracks, or here are some cinematic drums, or here are little jazzy drums, hip hop, indie rock, etc. All these kind of different styles. So I can hip you to these. And actually, I'm gonna do a little fun stuff. Maybe let's check this out. This might be interesting. This is a little timpani tom. What's this sound like? Sounds pretty darn cool. Hopefully that's not too loud. I'm gonna turn this down just a touch. Okay. Cool. I like that one. Let's say we're doing like some cool little ambient thing or something like that. That sounds pretty cool. Okay. Or maybe not. Maybe we want to go into ooh, this is good. Yeah, let's go with this. This is Aaron Comas, and he's got these cool Stax style grooves, like Stax Records. And let's see a little funky thing. Let's see what we got here. Pretty straightforward. Wow, okay. I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that and I'm going to drag that. And I'm going to drag that into this neat little tracks entity over here. So if you're ever kind of dragging external stuff, you can get it into Pro Tools really quickly by taking it, putting it on this left side over here in tracks, right? All right, now with the drum beats, and this will be useful, when I give them to you. With the drum beats, it is important that we make sure that the tempo of the drum groove, which it says very specifically because they know that we're using these things in things like Pro Tools and Ableton and whatnot, it's really important to make sure that that number is set to here in this transport window. And I think I mentioned, like, if that transport window does not exist on your computer, you can go up to Window and down here, and the transport window will come into play. Okay? So it says tempo over here. I'm going to put that, it says 80 BPM on this, on this Stax groove. So I'm going to go ahead, type in 80 and enter, and boom. Now it's cool. So what it essentially is telling me here is that our drum groove is basically 2 measures long. Now that's cool. You see how they line up here? This is really neat. So I'm going to make sure that my computer's in bars and beats. That's up here. And the reason I want it to do that is because I want to be able to see, like, especially if I'm working with something like a drummer that's like a made loop or whatever, it's going to be easiest if I can tell, like, that it fits the grid and everything. And that brings me to another point where up here in the top, I'm going to go and I'm going to hit grid mode. And then you see, like, the lines get a little darker. And that's cool because that means that if I, like, start dragging things around, it's actually going to latch into, like, kind of the right place, which is cool. Okay, so obviously this is not enough drumming to record to, right? So basically what I can do is I can just highlight this. I did it with a double click, right? I highlighted it, and then you can go to the menu, but what I would do is I would hit Command to D. Now you might have noticed I was zooming in and out. That's an interesting little tool as well. Again, I'm hitting Command, right bracket to zoom in, left bracket to zoom out. That's right here. Left and right brackets, right? Cool. Oops, sorry. Okay, cool. Command D. All right, I don't know how long I'm gonna play on this mess, so I'm gonna go ahead and make it plenty long. And so I can see its actual like minute length up here at the top there. It's like, 20 seconds here, 40 seconds, etc. I'm gonna make it, at least a minute, just so I can kind of groove and get in the feel. Now the other thing is, when I have a beat like this that's kind of pre-made, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll let it run for like 2 measures. Like, I'm gonna have to turn that down, or I'm gonna overdrive my speaking mic. Let me just turn that down a touch. Oops. So I went over here into volume. This is important. There's a volume here, but also I could move over to the mix window, right? And I could change it here. It doesn't matter. It's going to change both. They're the same. This window, they're literally, just expansions of one another. So I have it down -10 decibels. That sounds pretty good. I'm looking at the mic over here. That's cool. I just want to make sure that my speaking voice and the drums aren't crazy different levels. Okay, cool. So, neat. We have some drums. They're plenty long for us. So I'll probably, when I start to record, I'll probably like 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, then I'll play. Boom. Okay? And you could do this with a metronome also, but maybe I'll send you some beats to experiment with. Okay, cool, man. I'm gonna pick up the guitar real quick, and I'm using my 2-Rock, and I'm using the aux box, which is really cool. It's just that direct recording device, and it sounds amazing. It's also not cheap, but it's really super cool. Look at the Novo, great recording guitar. I have another one on the way. I might have told you about the Novo Strat style. I'm hopefully gonna pick it up and hang out with Dennis and Matthew over there in a few weekends. Okay, just getting a feel for it. Okay, I just randomly chose some chords that are kind of in the key of A minor with an F sharp, which is actually Dorian. But basically I'm choosing like an A minor 7, C add 9, D add 9, add 4. That's a weird chord. So basically, we might use the A minor pentatonic scale, but it's going to follow some kind of feeling. There we go. Okay, I was just figuring out the part, so I wasn't recording yet. Now, if you're kind of working out a part, it's not going to hurt you. Like, you basically have an infinite amount of space, you know, and if you filled up your hard drive, you could always get a new hard drive, you know. It's like, it's not like you should worry about having too many parts or recording too much or anything like that. You're going to be cool. If you were dealing with video, it could be a little bit more of a challenge. But man, like this, you're probably good to go. So I figured out my guitar part, right? So now I need to make sure that the input is correct. And so I know that on my interface, I am plugged into input line 5, right? And then in order to check that, I just go ahead and I do the little red arm. Just make a little noise. Yes. Cool. This, I wish there was a Tom Henry down here because I haven't found a good tech yet and this thing needs some love. Okay, cool, man. So we're getting levels. It says that I'm at the beginning here. You know, just make sure I'm at the back, all the way at the beginning. And I'm going to let that drum groove go like one time through, right? And then I'm going to start playing. And we'll see what happens. So, this means, the little blinking red on the track itself means that I'm recording that track. And then, in order for me to actually record, I have to hit this red button here. Now I have a little P in that because I have it in this punch mode. Yours will probably not look exactly like that, but it'll still be red. And then what I do is I use the space bar like pretty much all the time. That's my go or stop essentially. So when I'm ready to record, I'm going to hit the space bar, and then it's going to be blank. Like I'm not going to be playing anything, and then I'm going to start after the first time through the drums. So here it goes. 1, 2, here it goes. So I hit spacebar at the end there. Okay, cool. That went pretty well. I want to check it out and see if it's cool, right? So I'm going to just go ahead and click right here. That's where the waveform starts, right? So I clicked up here. I'm going to hit spacebar. Sounds pretty good, but say I wasn't satisfied with it, right? I'm just going to Command Z, boom, and I'm going to Command S because I always save. Alright, I'm going to arm it again. I'm going to do it one more time. Here's the space bar. 1, 2, here it goes. Okay. Say I messed up, right? I just went ahead, stop, Command Z, undo again, right? Arm. So you want to get used to these kind of basic functions, right? And getting quick with it. You know, I've been using Pro Tools a long time, so I really understand this program well. But yeah, just like the little things like this, just getting that workflow together. Again, spacebar for me. 1, 2, here we go. Okay, I just changed one note at the end to kind of make it seem interesting and a little cool. Alright. go to the mix window, take that rhythm guitar part down just a touch, drums up a little bit, make sure they're matching nicely. Making sure this recorder, I'm using my Zoom recorder separately with a microphone because it's hard to record audio in Pro Tools while you're showing something audio in Pro Tools, right? Okay, cool. So I like that guitar part. Right now I'm plugged direct into my, rig. I don't have my pedal board in the chain. I'm like, what would be cool on this? Some delay. Now, here's the beautiful thing. Pro Tools has all these amazing plugins built in. So what I did, and I could do this in the mix or the edit window, it doesn't matter. In the edit window, it's over here in inserts. All right, just click on this right here, and I go to plugin. Right, it looks kind of the same in the mix window as well. Up here, boom, plugin, go, right? And so it's neat. You'll have a lot of plugins. You won't have as many as me because I've been investing, and honestly, like, I don't have all these plugins either. These are ones that like came with my UAD audio, and you can like you can test them out, but just like as a trial thing. But you actually have to buy them, and they're freaking expensive. Cool, man. So I'm gonna use a delay that you have. So there, you definitely have like let me see. You definitely have the mod delay. I'm going to go mod delay, okay? So I'm going to click on that. And it's going to pull up. Oh, it pulled up over here. Let me move it. Okay, cool. Look. This is, man, like, some cool pedal mess, but all in software, right? So if I press go on this, it's going to sound crazy, and the reason is right now the dry and wet, it's 100% wet, and it's set at like this 250 milliseconds. So it's like basically you're hearing my entire thing delayed. So let me bring that down a little bit. Ooh, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna mess around with it. Just messing with knobs. I'm gonna put some modulation on there. Weird. There we go. So you can even do things like, you get into like 8th note delays. And the cool thing about this is, it's actually gonna naturally sync to the tempo of your track. So sometimes I really like using like the plug-in delays and stuff. Man, that sounds pretty cool. Okay, so check it out. I want this to be like the intro and the verse, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and X that down, boom. And I'm gonna go back to the edit window. So here's something kind of important that you need to be able to do. I'm gonna zoom in, right? So Command, right bracket. And I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna put the cursor right here at the beginning of the track, like where I actually start playing. And I'm gonna hit Command E. Now, you could do this up at the top as well. Let me look. I always do Command E, so I'm sorry that I don't know what it's. I think it's separate clip. Yeah, add selection, right? So that basically it cuts this to where, like, say like this, I can now delete that and it's not part of the full thing. So there I literally just clicked on it and hit delete. Boom. Now this one has a little bit of like good stuff right there, so I don't want to delete that, but I will hit Command E, and I separated that, and then I'm going to go to the other side because I played a little over. That's when it should start again. All right. And so what I'm going to do, hopefully it makes a smooth thing. If not, I'm going to have to crossfade it. I'll show you that too. Okay, so I just hit Command E. I'm going to delete that. Alright, so now I'm going to select this, and I'm going to hit Command D. This is the duplicate. So let's listen to this. not bad. It actually, that delay made where basically when these two transition, that it's not bad at all. So actually, like, I look for those spots. Wow, sounds great. So now basically I have like 2 times through the chord progression, right? Check this out. I'm gonna delete this one. Oops. This drum, and I'm gonna delete this drum. And I'm gonna click save. Okay, and now I'm gonna say maybe we have our like intro and let's say maybe we have our intro and verse, right? And the intro and verse is like 4 times through or something like that. Okay? Hey, I'm going to pause 1 second, just make sure this thing is recording properly, or I might be very upset. Oh. So, 1 sec. I'm going to start again.